Hi, this is Anaiis. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for stopping by. If you've watched my videos before, you know that I don't do traditional tarot. I do interpretive readings using a variety of forms. It's very much like freeform jazz. And let's see, what else do you need to know? When I refer to the divine masculine or the divine feminine, that is not gender specific. When I refer to source, that is source specific. And I only read for Sacred Union and for the what people think of as the Twin Flame collective. So my readings are about the process. My readings are about the internal dynamics that are going on at a soul level. My readings are not about the surface level of daily life. I don't even go into that much about what is going on in our emotional pain body dysfunction, because those of us who are in Sacred Union have, in a sense, we've grown up, we've matured, we've evolved out of living in our pain bodies. We are casting off those dysfunctional shells as we speak. So the shells are there. We need to come out of them. It's very much, as I have explained in one of my videos, like a cicada. If you know what a cicada is, it's an insect. And it molts its entire body structure. Its exoskeleton is molted off, and you can pick it up and you're just looking at the form of an entire bug that's empty. And that's what our pain bodies are doing now. We're coming out of those structures and living outside of our pain bodies. For those of you who feel that you are love light workers, you are aware that you're living in another kind of energy body at this point that has become freed from being entangled in your pain body at a quantum level. So this has been a lot of change, and we've gone through another Stargate process, 8-8, the Lion's Gate. And the thing about the Lion's Gate is, if you're in Sacred Union, you're gradually in an ascension process. It's preparing you to go through all of the gates that will be part of the ascension, which is all of the source divine blueprint energy that has gone into making the environment in which we live and how we are formed. All of that will be returned to source, and those of us who are in alignment with that will go with those energies, and we will be returned to source. And nobody really knows for sure what this experience is going to be like, or when it will happen, or how we'll know that we're in it, although I would be pretty sure it'd be hard to miss. Okay, so that being said, I do readings of current energies, what's in the environment, what's coming through downstepped from higher dimensions, higher densities, through Gaia's connection still, her bridge to 3D reality, because there's still many people on the 3D earth who are going to be waking up in the near future. And those of us who have been awake for some time now have been kind of stewarding that process. We've been running around the globe, realigning grids, repairing grids, doing our own ancestral integration work, getting ourselves back to rights. And we've been doing this for a long time. We're closer. I'm feeling, I've been at this work now for 30 years, and I'm feeling we're very, very close, very close. And I don't know what that means in terms of, clock time, human time. Could be hundreds of years yet. I have no idea. Nobody knows. So that being said, that's the framework of the readings that I do, and I'm looking at the current energies of the divine masculine, which for me is the spectrum of energy that is the electrical energy that embodies primarily as a human male being with a male body, the penis people. And then there is the magnetic energy, which is the divine feminine energy, which for eons has evolved as the woman, the female, the vagina ladies, right? And so we've had those two working not quite in harmony or balance with each other, because the binary system that is the 3D construct, that is the originator of the pain body. I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. That has been distorted to 2/3 electrical, 1/3 magnetic, and no third source. So that's the problem. And now those of us who are on the ascension path, we are realigning ourselves to 1/3 source, 1/3 feminine magnetic, and 1/3 electrical masculine. And those coming into balance are the basis of all creation anywhere, in any domain, in any universe, in any multiverse. Okay, so now that's that quick lesson there. And we've had another shift in the energies, and this reading that I'm going to be doing of current energies and translating the energies, I do not channel. I feel the energies, they move through my body. The energies actually, because of the way my DNA is activated, they form words. I don't speak in light language unless it's a necessity. I've done that with clients of mine, but it is not my preference. My preference at this point is to still use the English language. It's part of cleaning it up and uncorrupting what's left of it. Okay, so what has been going on? Now, we're going to look at this from a perspective of, I will show you in a minute, I will be reading energies for the spiritual body, the mental body, and the emotional body. And all that translates and distills down into the etheric body, and it is on the basis of the etheric body that either divine masculine or divine feminine who are wearing a human body will choose their actions. So I have 3 cards out here. I'll explain these in a minute. For this particular reading, these 3 cards are for the divine masculine. This is the spiritual energy, the phoenix. This is the emotional energy, the moth. And then this is the mental and the etheric energy. Now these are higher energies than the mental body energies at this point because of the transitions that we've been through. So these 3 represent the divine masculine energy right now in how he is experiencing himself. This is you guys now, how you're experiencing yourself physically and etherically and mentally, emotionally and spiritually. So one of the other premises I work from is that we live from the inside out, that everything begins in spirit, begins with source, and then as the energy is stepped down, the light coalesces into matter. So this is the process in the current energies that the divine masculine at a spiritual level is beginning to move through. So first we'll go through the spiritual dynamic, and then I'll look at the emotional dynamic, and then the etheric mental dynamic. And hopefully this will make some sense to you. And I don't plan to do an extended reading today because this is pretty basic stuff, and I kind of want to leave it there. So first we have he of the fiery sword. And this is the embodied sacred sexual energy expressed by the masculine electrical charge. And this is what this energy is coming through when it comes through the mental body, the etheric body, and the physical body. This is the energy of male sexuality, however it gets expressed physically. Creaky table, creaky chair, antiques, I love them. So here you have this energy now has presented itself in the physical realm, and it is working through this level of the spiritual body, is working through clearing an attachment. Think of this as an emotional body attachment. This could be a frequency attachment. It could be what we would think of as a non-physical entity attachment. And this is the energy of meddling, of interfering, of getting in the way of the divine masculine actually really clearing and cleaning up how he uses his sacred sexuality. So right now, at the spiritual level, the phoenix energy, the rebirth, the total rebuilding rebirth energy is working with this sacred sexuality, and the interference that you, divine masculine, may be feeling, and this may come into your awareness as impulses on how you're going to use your sexuality. It may come as you trying to clear and divest yourself of, let's say, an addiction to pornography. And this attachment, this is the kind of attachment that would latch on to you etherically and in your mental body if you've been looking at pornography. This is a kind of an attachment then you are carrying around with you, and these are very, very difficult to get rid of. It's a tremendous amount of work. And every time you engage in that particular addiction, you are re-addicting yourself. It's like shooting up again. Just as though when we watch a film or TV that is traumatizing to the emotional body and the mental body, when we're looking at violence, we wound ourselves and we actually contribute to the pain body. So the divine masculines, you guys are working with clearing this energy, because you can't come into full union with your divine feminine without putting her at risk for both of you losing your ability to go through the entire ascension process. So right now, divine masculine, you've kind of quarantined yourself, which is very, very wise. Now, because you've quarantined yourself at the emotional level, you're having a real struggle. Because this is, I mean, quite literally, this is the moth to the fiery flame, you want this, you want to express this way, but you realize that there's something off about how you're engaging your own sexual energy, and because you've connected with your divine feminine, you don't want to jeopardize bringing an attachment into her energy field, her side of the dynamic. She's probably already feeling this anyway, but it may not be a full-on inner struggle for her, whereas for you it is an inner struggle and an energetic struggle, and it's an emotional struggle. Because when you are dealing with these kinds of attachments and it's around your sacred sexuality, then you're probably also dealing with emotional codependency issues. And so you may be interfered with, and you may be tempted to use your sacred sexuality in ways that are not, they're just not in alignment with ascension. We all can do what we're going to do, but the question with sacred union is, are we on our path to ascension or are we not? So that's where the emotional energy is. Now the physical dynamic here, when you're on the ascension journey, if you're struggling with this, you're going to feel this attachment as an energy drain, and it's going to slow you down. It's going to build fatigue in you. You're going to be tired, and you're going to have a really difficult time recharging your battery, and having sex is not going to recharge your battery. So this is a kind of a slow crawl into becoming quite run down, and then you have to figure out how to get yourselves back in balance again. So that's where the physical energy is in this dynamic. Now, what's here to help you, obviously, is we have, this is the Singer of Transfiguration, and this energy, I mean, it takes a lot of energy to clean this up. So it's like you have transfiguration on both sides of you. Your angelic higher self, your higher power connections working with you to clean this up. And then when you've cleaned it up, then you're going to be looking at this dynamic, where your sacred sexuality has gotten into alignment with your higher self, with your angelic being. And then this will be a way for you to get recharged internally directly from the energies without having to take yourself into a dynamic with a woman where you're going to use her to try to get her starfire to recharge you. You're going to be able to generate, hopefully soon, your own starfire. We're really hoping for that. Could happen. Okay, so the next cards out here, we have the Guardian of the Gate and Ecstasis. So this is really representing you, Divine Masculine, having put yourself in quarantine. You're taking a time out. You're taking a time out so you can figure out what else you need to do to get liberated from your pain body. And you're taking your time out to figure out, this is ecstasis. This is the extraordinary, incredibly, indescribably beautiful, blissful pleasure of being in union with yourself, with Source, and certainly with your Divine Feminine. Now, the Guardian of the Gate is not going to let you pass through the next phase of ascension if this dynamic with your sexuality hasn't been cleaned up. Now, what is the sacred sexuality about? It is about deep and true and beautiful and loving intimacy. It's not about gender. So make sure you're clear about that, because we're in a stage now, we're in a phase where people are exploring the option of choosing their own gender, which is fine. And when you're coming into the sacred union process, that's then becomes a little bit more complicated. It doesn't matter, because you're still going to be dealing with two divine masculines and two divine feminines in any two people. And that those balances have to get worked out however they get worked out. Okay, so we have the Guardian at the Gate, and this is the wisdom of putting yourself into a kind of a sexual or situationship or relationship time out until you are able to be really conscious and intentional about how you're using your sacred sexual energy. Okay, now next we have out the Singer of Courage, because taking this immense power and bliss and pleasure of being in the ecstasy within your central bliss channel, as you're clearing this up, it takes courage, because it's going to move you into such a deep space of intimacy with yourself and with your sacred union counterpart that it's going to take courage for you to be able to hold these divine energies, this new divine blueprint within yourself, and it's going to require wisdom. And as we go through these waves of energy and as we continue to purge, right now we're really clearing a lot of the Atlantean legacy and the diminishment of the human body and the form and the understanding of who we are. We're moving into awakening around that. So we do have wisdom. This is the sage. This is beautiful ancient wisdom coming in to balance the spiritual ecstasy with the physical managing of becoming this expression, the embodiment of the divine masculine. This is a really intense process. And it gets complicated with codependency. It gets complicated when there are addictions that have to be managed. It could be anything. It could be gambling. It could be food. It could be pornography. It could be addiction to actual substances, alcohol, drugs, you know, whatever. So you divine masculines are checking yourselves into your own spiritual rehab. You're having the courage to do that because you know that you need to in order to come into balance at the emotional and spiritual levels. So you've got this guy and this guy. This is where you're lining these things up energetically and frequency-wise. So right now you may be feeling a little bit tired, a little bit spent. At the same time, because of the energy coming through of ecstasy, you're also feeling like really connected and maybe a little bit vulnerable, and you're appreciating, you're maybe seeing your divine feminine with an entirely new perspective. Okay, so that's what's going on here for the divine masculine. He's put himself in timeout while he is figuring out this part of the balance within the sacred union. And while he is doing that, we have the divine feminine here. And she is reorganizing her energy and her part of the balance in the energy field. Here we have the starfish. This is a beautiful, elegant creature. Sometimes it can be seen as very beautiful. It attracts a lot of attention. Sometimes it's judged as being superficial, but here we have the whale. So we're not talking about a superficial person here. This is a very deep, deep, deep person who is an old soul who has a lot of ancient wisdom and depth and ability to move in, up to the surface and down into the depths of the darkness, whereas the starfish will stay in relatively shallow pools. And then we have the unicorn, which is the incredible, unique being that operates in the ethers. So from the divine feminine's point of view, she's presenting as the unicorn, and the divine masculine at the spiritual level is presenting as the phoenix. So we're coming into a new moon. There's this energy of going into a place of intention, and what the divine masculine, what you guys are doing with this intention to put yourselves in time out. And it's part of respecting this energy in your energy fields as well. So, in this energy, in these current energies, the divine feminine is in alignment with her higher self, with her divine meta being, and with Source, and she's just in a state of surrender, truly beginning to relax in the sense of her being a divine feminine who receives. And she is communicating in the higher realms through the unicorn energy and through the depth of a beautiful emotional body. And here's her physical body with its beauty and its ability to regenerate. It's wonderful. But the message here from her is, to Source, is if my current energies are not in an alignment with the sacred union counterpart with whom I am currently doing healing and transformation and purging and healing of relationship templates, I'm ready to receive a partner of a higher frequency and a higher vibration. And I will let go with love, and I will receive with love. And this does not represent a casual swapping out of a partner who, doesn't put the cap back on the toothpaste. We're talking really deep, powerful dynamics here, where you've got a divine feminine who has done her work and who has done her purging and all of the merging and the moving of the timelines. And now she is feeling within the union the vibration of this kind of energy, which is out of alignment for her, and it's certainly out of alignment for Source. So, Divine Masculines, stay sequestered, take care of doing what you need to do to get yourselves back into alignment and into a high frequency that can be a match with your sacred union, divine feminine counterpart, or really understand that she's going to move on. And when she moves on this time, she may have done all the healing work that you need to do to find your way back to Source through the ascension process, but you may no longer be in union with her. And that's a pretty daunting prospect. So the Divine Feminine is not taking this under advisement lightly. Because the object of ascension is for us to return to Source whole and in alignment, in our divine, completely aligned, in our light bodies and our spirit bodies, completely aligned with all of the ascension gates and all of the energy dynamics that we're going to have to go through. And here we're really looking at, are we wanting to go through the ascension in our physical bodies? Do we want to go as far as we're going to go until we reach a biological point of extinction and we're going to wait and be hosted out? And at that point, which could be another very long period of time without a lot of loving, joyous, juicy fun that is ecstasy when we're in union. You know, do we want to make choices and decisions that are going to push our union experience back, slow it down, and maybe even interrupt it or abort it? So this is really intense energy. I'm not sharing this with you to freak you out, but we do have to really recognize what we're accountable for. And I would say that in the 3D construct realm, the way this is playing out is the uncontrollable fires burning in the Amazon. That is male penis power energy, patriarchal male energy gone awry. You have two leaders of nations having the male version of a cat fight. That's sacred sexuality being misused. It's being used inappropriate. That's not how a divine masculine who is awake and aware of himself would be using his energy. There's no way that would be happening. So we know those guys. I mean, you know, we can pretty well figure they're not on the ascension path. But I would like you to recognize that, because everything begins within, the uncontrolled fires and the men who are dominating the process of the uncontrolled fires, and not being able to work together, to collaborate together, to bring those things into alignment so that the lungs of the planet can be maybe healthy for a little while longer. But this is this energy coming in and interfering. This is the energy coming in and getting in between, you know, the French Prime Minister and the President of Brazil. Just getting in the way, getting in the way, getting in the way, wearing things down, getting in the way, continuing in the planned destruction of planet Earth. This is a big, big job that we're doing. So I wanted to just share that with you in terms of a really very inner-outer moment, easy to recognize. We have this obstacle, and because we have this attachment to masculine sacred sexuality, that is burning out of control. Literally, it's burning out of control. So, divine masculines, get busy. Get busy. Do what you need to do. Sequester yourself. Clean it up. All right, now let me see, because this is a quick reading. I'm going to pause for a minute. Okay, I'm back. I'm going to be using the Secret Language of Light. Guidance and oracle cards here. See if we can get some additional understanding and insight into the dynamics that we're in here. Big cards. This is why I don't shuffle on camera. Tiny hands. Tiny, tiny hands. And then to do this, oh my god. Okay. We have one. Here we have inner voice. I'm going to attribute that to source. Just listening to the inner voice guiding us along our journey as we're figuring out what we're doing. And here we have visualize, and I'm going to assign this with it to the Divine Masculine, because he's going to really need to visualize how he will be using his sacred sensuality and sexuality as he continues on in his ascension journey. Visualization can be very helpful along with meditation thing. Let me see what we've got here. Yeah, here we have color. And I think this is really finding in this union a way to come into balance with the color of who we are in our alignments. And everything has color, sound, color, light. So we are looking for, I think the Divine Feminine is looking to experience herself in full living color, in her beauty and in her vulnerability and in her femininity. Let's see if we have one more here. Yeah, it feels like this one. Yeah, that's interesting. So this is Soul Family. So I think that what we're seeing here is the Divine Feminine saying, I'm going to protect my soul family and I'm going to protect my ascension process. And I hope, Divine Masculine, my divine counterpart, that we don't end up going back into separation and a drop back in frequency and energy for the Divine Masculine, because he hasn't been able to figure this out and attend to it. So I'm going to actually put that here with the inner voice of the soul family and the Divine Masculine. And with that, that will be the end of this general reading, and thank you very much for stopping by. And again, please do know that I am now, because of the way the energies are coming out, I'm looking at probably 3 cards to represent physical, mental, etheric, emotional, and spiritual, and the flow of information moving in between that we could consider intuition will flow between these 3 cards. So I just wanted to introduce that to you today, because I'm sure that this will happen again. Okay, thanks very much for stopping by. Please do like, share, and comment if you understand the depth and the levels that I am doing these intuitive readings from. And if you're on an ascension journey, you probably will understand it and get it. Okay.